أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum. How are you today? Doing well? Let's begin the class again with a few questions. If you have free time, what do you do?
I will.
Hold on. Just raise your hand. Okay, I'm gonna choose somebody. If you have free time, what do you do? Whenever you have free time, what do you do? Anytime in your lifetime, okay? Whenever you have free time, or if you have free time, what do you do? Raise your hands. Okay, so what do you do?
I will go to Mazar.
Okay, wrong answer, right? Yeah, what do you do if you have free time?
And then if I have free time, I self-study my grammar notes.
If I have free time, I self-study my grammar books. Okay, what do you do if you have extra money?
If I have extra money, I will buy a car.
No, I didn't ask you with future tense. I used simple present, simple present. What do you do? I didn't say what will you do. So what do you do if you have extra money?
If I have extra money, I buy a car.
Okay, anytime? Like anytime you have extra money, you buy a car, okay? So that would be more logical to say if I have extra money, I buy books. I buy some books. I buy some, notebooks, for example, something like that. Or I go outside and I eat at a restaurant or something like that. But anyways, be careful. I'm using simple present tense. I ask you with do and does. So you're not gonna be answering me with future tense, okay? What do you do? What do you do if you get sick?
If I get sick, I go to hospital.
If I get sick, I go to a hospital. Okay. What do you do? What do you do if you get infected with COVID-19?
If I get infected with COVID-19, I will quarantine.
No, don't say I will.
I quarantine myself.
I quarantine myself. I quarantine myself. Now this is the time to answer me with will or be going to. So,
Yes, clear.
yes, now I'm asking you what will, okay? I'm not going to be asking you with do and does, okay? So what will you buy if you have $1 million in the future?
If I have $1 million, I will buy a new house.
Okay, so she's gonna buy a new house if she has $1 million. I hope you have it in the future. Okay, now I'm asking you, and be careful, okay? Okay, so where will you go? To which country will you travel if you become rich?
If I become rich,
I will.
I will go to the United States
Of America. Okay. If I become rich, I will go to the United States of America. Which state? Which state? New York, California, Texas, Chicago.
Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, what are you gonna do? What are you going to do, or what are you gonna do if you become the president of Afghanistan in the future?
If I become the president of Afghanistan, I'm gonna help poor people.
I'm gonna be helping poor people, or I'm gonna try to improve or develop Afghanistan, right? Okay, cool. What would you do? What would you do if you had free time right now? What would you do if you had free time now?
I had free time.
Now,
I would study a grammar book.
okay, I would study my grammar book. Okay, that's fine. Where would you go? Where would you go if you were the president of Afghanistan? Where would you go if you were the president of Afghanistan? Yes.
If I were the president of Afghanistan, I would go to
Saudi Arabia? Where?
Saudi Arabia.
Doha? To have negotiation with Mullah Brother, right? If I were the president of Afghanistan, I would go to Doha, or I would go to the United States, right? I would go to the United States to say to Donald Trump that we're sorry for, for you that you lost the election, right? Okay. Anyways, where would you have lived? Where would you have lived if you had a lot of money last year? Where would you have lived if you had a lot of money last year?
If I had a lot of money last year, I would
I would have lived
I would have lived in Canada.
in Canada. Okay. Now, look, when we say conditional clauses, so actually there are 5 types of conditional clauses: 0, type 1, type 2, type 3, and mixed conditional clause. You have already learned, these 4 types of conditional clauses in step 3 in the previous semester. Today, we cover, the entire adverb clause of condition. There are many other words, other connectors or linkers to be used in conditional clause or adverb clause of condition. So I just want to repeat the explanation, the short explanation of the 4 types of conditional clauses. If it's 0 conditional clause, we talk about a real condition. We talk about something that happens in our daily life, okay? Still, something is conditional on something else. Something must happen first so that something else could happen, okay? So now, for example, you say, if I have free time, I study a lot of books. Now, studying a lot of books is something conditional on having free time. So obviously, if I don't have free time, I cannot study a lot of books, okay? So something is conditional on something else. And usually we use simple present tense with simple present tense. There could be, other present tenses, like present continuous or present perfect as well, in these type of complex sentences when we use 0 conditional clause. But most of the times, there's simple present tense with simple present tense, okay? And there's type 1 or open conditional clause, type 1 or open conditional clause. And we use simple present tense with simple future tense. We use usually simple present tense with simple future tense. And I don't reject the idea that there could be other tenses. Instead of simple present tense, there could be in a present perfect, there could be, and instead of simple future, there could be future continuous. But most of the times, simple present with simple future tense, right? And again, that is a sort of real condition, okay? We talk about something that could be true in the future, but there's a probability, okay? The action that we talk about may or may not take place, may or may not happen. Understood? For example, if I have extra money tomorrow, I will buy a computer. So now there's a probability. If I have extra money tomorrow, it's going to happen. The action will take place. I'll buy a computer. But I may not have it, so there's a probability, okay? But still, if I have extra money tomorrow, I will buy a computer. Still, buying a computer, the action of buying a computer is somehow, conditional or dependent on having, extra money. So there's a state, having, because the verb have doesn't show action, it shows a state of possession, right? So the action of buying a computer is conditional on the state of having enough money. So there's a probability. And type 2, or imaginary conditional clause, is used to talk about present unreal situation. Present unreal, something that can't be true at present time. We use simple past tense, but for the present meaning. Understood? I'm saying if I had a lot of money right now, see, the time expression is right now, but the tense is simple past tense, right? Okay, I would travel to Mecca, I would travel to Saudi Arabia. I would become Haji, right? If I had a lot of money right now, if I had a lot of money, I would travel to Saudi Arabia. So, you talk about present unreal situation. In this case, a positive sentence has a negative meaning, a negative sentence has a positive meaning, okay? And you use simple past tense in if clause, in conditional clause. In your main class, you use would plus verb base form, or could plus verb base form, that is also possible, okay? So now, if I didn't come to your class, you wouldn't learn conditional clause. You wouldn't learn. So now the sentence is negative, but the meaning is positive. Why? Because I'm already here, right? And you learn, adverb clause. So a positive sentence in this case has a negative meaning, a negative sentence has a positive meaning. And then there's a type 3 conditional clause, or unfulfilled conditional clause. According to grammar, you can call it unfulfilled conditional clause as well. And when we talk about a past unreal situation, we use type 3 or unfulfilled conditional clause. For example, a month ago, there was a beautiful car, and my brother wanted to buy it, but he didn't have enough money to buy it. So if my brother had enough money last month, he would have bought that car. So that is something in the past, right? We don't talk about present unreal situation. We talk about a past unreal situation, okay? That's all about, the 4 types of conditional clauses. And there's mixed conditional clause. Tense agreement is not very important. Like in these 4 types of conditional clauses, we use in 0 simple present with simple present, in type 1 simple present with simple future, in type 2 simple past tense with would plus verb base form, in type 3 past perfect tense with perfective model, right? But in mixed conditional clause, it's a part of the spoken English, and tense agreement is not very important. You got it? So it's something imaginary again. Now look at these words. Only if is used when we talk about a situation that there's only one condition that a certain action can take place. There's only one condition that a certain action can take place. And later on, when I'm explaining these sentences, you will see that there's some exceptional, there's an exceptional case, okay? How to use it correctly in our sentences. Unless is the positive version of if not. Unless is a positive word with a negative meaning. It is followed by positive verb form, but the meaning is negative. It means if not. And then you have even if. It means no matter what the condition is, okay? But according to the point of view of the speaker, a certain action cannot take place. Okay, no matter what the condition is. And provided that these two have the same meanings, but provided that is more formal than providing that. So now providing that is more formal, more common in spoken English, and provided that is, more common in academic written English. They have the same meanings. What do they mean? They mean if or only if. Again, if or only if. And then you have in case that or in the event that. These two have the same meanings, but in the event that is more formal than in case that. Otherwise, they have the same meanings, okay? So how do we use them, and what they mean when we use them in sentences? So it means something will not happen, but there is a probability that it could happen. So if it happens, you should have a sort of preparation. You should be kind of ready for something that may happen, okay? You got it? And usually the more auxiliary should is used with it, okay? So when I'm explaining the examples, it will be clear. Whether or not, neither this condition nor that condition matters. A certain action will take place. Neither this condition nor that condition, okay? And or else means otherwise. Or else means otherwise. It means The action in the main class, in the independent class, must take place. If it does not take place, there will be a consequence. There will be a consequence. And on condition that also means that, in case that, or in the event that, or there's a condition, based on that condition, something could happen. In case of, in the event of, these two, just like, look here, in case that, in the event that. And you have in case of, instead of that, you have the word of. So these two are prepositions. And the difference is that they must be followed by objects, not by subject plus verb. Okay? Finally, otherwise is a transitional word, and it should be used in the second sentence, in spoken English in 3 positions. At the beginning of your second sentence, followed by 1 comma. Between the subject and verb form, 1 comma before and 1 comma after this transitional word. Or at the end of the second sentence, and preceded by a comma, which means there should be a comma before, this transitional word. So if you remember the previous lesson, I told you that transitional words can be used in 5 different ways in written English and 3 different ways in spoken English. Now look at these examples. You can get a good job in our country, in Afghanistan, only if you know someone. So here, this example means that there's only one condition that the action of getting job can take place. And what is that condition? Knowing someone. So you have to know someone, right? In order to be able to get a good job. Links, wasita, right? Okay. So again, see, when we say, what is a conditional clause? It's a group of words which has a subject and main verb, right? And shows what? Shows the condition of an action. Shows that something is dependent on something else. Okay? It expresses the idea that something must happen first. Like you must know someone first. So what is in the conditional clause? You must know someone first, right? Okay, so that is the condition. Based on this condition, this action can take place. So a conditional clause is a group of words which has a subject and main verb, okay, and shows the condition of the action or the state in its main clause, okay, or expresses the idea that something is conditional on something else. Something must happen first, conditional clause. So that something else could happen, and the result is there in the main clause, okay? Now look, there's an exceptional case. If you want to use the conditional clause first in your complex sentence, in this case, while using, the conjunction only if, then you need inversion. You need what? Inversion. So inversion means changing the positions of, the subject and the auxiliary. Look here, what comes first? Auxiliary and main verb. And subject comes before the verb form. So here is the verb form and here's the subject, right? But look here, auxiliary, helping verb comes first and then subject. So the positions are changed, okay? And it's just for emphasizing the action, emphasizing the idea, okay? So therefore, we do not use a question mark. You got it? So it's still affirmative sentence. It's not interrogative sentence. The reason we bring this inversion, okay, is to emphasize that something, should take place. So only if you know someone can you get a good job in our country. Only if her mother gives him some money does he go to school. He goes to school only if his mother gives him some extra money, right? Some money. So now if you want to bring only if clause first, only if his mother gives him some money does he go to school. See? Emphatic do. It's called what? Emphatic do. So now the question is that why isn't it like interrogative sentence? Because we have interrogative form over here. Because we use this inversion to emphasize the action, and therefore it's not interrogative sentence. If you want to make your sentence interrogative, then use the main clause first, the independent clause first, and bring, the auxiliary before subject, and then use a question mark over here. Okay, yes. Can you get a good job in our country only if you know someone? So now, this way it becomes interrogative sentence. Understood? You won't be able to get a high score unless you study hard. So what does it mean, unless you study hard? If you don't study hard. Unless means if not, okay? It's a positive word with a negative meaning. You got the point? So, and it's followed by positive verb form. You do not say unless you don't study hard. Unless this conjunction cannot be followed by negative verb form. It should be followed by positive verb form. But the meaning is negative. Unless you study hard means if you don't study hard. Okay? Yes. And then look at this example. Providing that or provided that. I told you that these two conjunctions have the same meanings, but providing that is less formal and provided that is more formal. Okay, they come early, we will go to the zoo today. So again, something is conditional on something else, right? What is conditional? Conditional here doesn't mean like, situation. It means like mashrut, okay? Dependent, something wabasta, okay? You got the point? Okay, so we will go to the zoo. The action of going to the zoo is conditional on what? Yes. First, they should come early, then we can go to the zoo. So this action is conditional on this action in the conditional clause. This action is mashrut on this action. You got it? So conditional here means mashrut. Okay? And he wants to go abroad whether his parents agree or not. Neither this condition if his parents agree. No, that condition if his parents disagree matters. The action of going abroad will take place when we use whether or not. But there are two ways. There are two ways. This is one way to use the whole clause between the two parts of this three-word conjunction. You see that? You can also bring the whole clause after this three-word conjunction. You can say it this way: whether or not his parents agree. You see that? You can say it this way, whether his parents agree or not. Or you can say whether or not, and then you can take the whole clause after, the three-word conjunction. Got the point? You must study hard or else you will fail the exam. I told you. Or else the action, which action? This action in the main class must take place. Otherwise there will be a consequence. What will be the consequence? Failing the exam. Okay? If the action in the main class does not take place, okay, in that verb class of condition with this conjunction will express a consequence of this action. So the consequence means like a bad result, right? Okay. You must study hard or else you will fail the exam. So the consequence will be bad. The action in the main class should take place. Otherwise, there will be a consequence. On condition that you have good qualifications, the company will hire you. Bashartik. Like, on condition, that means like bashartik. Okay? On condition that you have good qualifications, that company will hire you. Okay? On condition that you have a lot of experience. On condition that you have a lot of experience, you may become a teacher at Atarat. You may become an English teacher at Atarat. You should call the police in case of an emergency. See the difference. In case of and the event of. You can use both of them over here, right? But these are prepositions. And they cannot be followed by subject plus verb. Because they're not conjunctions, right? So, in case of an emergency, you can bring a noun. Emergency is a noun. So now if you stop the sentence here, okay? So this noun functions as the object of this preposition. So it's a prepositional phrase, and it's still a kind of, modifying phrase, okay? But it's not a clause anymore. Understood? Or in case of seeing a criminal is also a gerund phrase. Okay? So a gerund can function as subject, as object of preposition. So here, seeing a criminal, this gerund phrase functions as the object of this preposition. So after prepositions in simple words, we cannot bring, subject plus verb. We cannot bring a clause. We need an object after prepositions. And finally, there's the transitional word otherwise, okay? And I've told you before, while teaching you adverb clause of purpose, I think, that all transitional words in English language can be used in 3 different ways. In spoken English, in 5 different ways in written English. So look here. Soldiers are supposed to obey the rules. Again, it's like or else, but or else is a conjunction over here, there's a consequence, right? So it also shows the consequence of the action in its main clause, or in the sentence, before. So otherwise, they will get in trouble. If this action of obeying the rules doesn't take place, there will be a consequence. The consequence is what? Getting in trouble. They could be punished, okay? They could be put in jail, for example. Or they could be fired. So now, this is one way to bring the transitional word at the beginning of your second sentence, and use a comma after transitional word, and don't capitalize, the subject, and continue the second sentence. You can bring the transitional between the subject and verb form. They otherwise will get in trouble. That's also correct. And there's no space, but the third way, they will get in trouble otherwise. You can use it at the end of the second sentence, right? And now the fourth way, if you use comma here, you don't have to capitalize the transitional word. If you use semicolon here, you don't have to capitalize the transitional word. So 5 ways in written English and 4 ways in spoken English. And 3 ways in spoken English. Any questions? Feel free to ask your questions. It's an actual classroom, and you can ask your questions if there's anything confusing or.
Readers, can you
Yes, sure. Whether or not. See, this is how we explain it in English language. And what I believe is English must be learned by English. Okay? That's why I'm trying to explain each and every point in English. I can give you a simple Pashto or Dari word that's not going to help you, okay? So when we use this conjunction, it is a 3-word conjunction. A 3-word conjunction, whether or not. It means neither this condition nor that condition matters, okay? The certain action will take place. For example, let's say we have a party, okay? And we do not start the party because one of our friends is not here yet. Let's say Jamal is one of our friends, right? And somebody's saying, should we start the party? Somebody else is saying, no, Jamal is not here. And Jamal is a very important person among our friends, right? So there's somebody who doesn't care about the importance of Jamal. And that person says, we must start the party whether or not Jamal comes. We should start the party whether or not Jamal comes. Or we should start the party whether Jamal comes or not. So neither this condition, if he comes, nor that condition, if he doesn't come, matters. It doesn't matter, right? The action of starting the party should take place. Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you? Okay, look. If I ask you, for example, will you keep living in Afghanistan if peace doesn't come? So there's a probability. There may be peace in our country, there may not be peace in our country, right? Okay. They may get to a conclusion, the government and Taliban, and there could be peace in our country. There may not be peace in our country, something may happen, right? So now, there are 2 conditions. Having peace in the country and not having peace in the country. But you want to live, you don't have any other choice. You want to keep living in your country. There's no choice, okay? So you say, yeah, we'll have to keep living in our country whether or not peace comes, or whether there is peace in our country or not, or whether or not there is peace in our country. So neither that condition if there is peace, no that condition if there's no peace. I mean, neither of these two conditions matters. The action of living will take place. I hope you got the point. Any other questions? So now let's turn this grammar class into a conversation class. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
How? Raise your hand if you can use any of these words in your sentences. Yep.
If Almighty Allah, no one can join a step 4 class unless they pass final exam for both conversation and grammar part.
Perfect. Perfect.
Shams Tabrizi follow his own rules, whether people like him or not.
Yeah, Shams Tabrizi followed his own rules, whether people liked him or not.
Whether or not the government signed a peace contract with Taliban, signs a peace contract with Taliban, I learn English.
I'll keep learning English. Yep. Yep.
Our country can't improve unless the peace comes.
Our country can't improve unless peace comes, or unless there's peace. Yep. Here.
You can have a fit body only if you.
You go to the gym only if you exercise like our teacher, right? You can have you can be fit, or you can have a slim body, okay? Only if you go to the gym, only if you exercise every day. Yep, yep.
You can't change yourself unless you get a strong decision.
You make a strong decision. Yep.
Providing that they study hard, they will pass the exam.
Perfect. Providing that they study hard, they will pass the final exam. Yep.
Only if you know English, can you get a good job in Afghanistan?
Only if you know English can you get a good job in Afghanistan. Yep.
You can't learn grammar unless you repeat it at home.
You can learn grammar unless you repeat your lessons at home. Perfect. Yep.
Provided that all of the students be present, we will have a debate.
Providing that all of the students are present, we're gonna have a debate, or we will have a debate. Yep. Yep.
You can improve your English only if you practice a lot.
You can improve your English only if you practice a lot. Only if you practice a lot can you improve your English, right?
I study hard whether I have exam or not.
I study hard whether I have an exam or not. Or you can say, I study hard whether or not I have an exam. Yep.
I will continue studying whether you're happy or not.
I will continue studying whether you're happy or not. Or whether or not you're happy. Of course I'll be happy if you continue, getting education.
They won't hire you as a teacher in a Torah academy unless you don't have
Unless should be followed by positive verb form.
unless you should have advanced grammar.
Unless you know advanced grammar. They won't hire you as a teacher at a tarot unless you have a lot of teaching experience, or unless your English is very strong, or something like that, okay? See, keep in mind that unless is always followed by positive verb form with a negative meaning. The meaning is negative because unless itself means if not. Okay? So now if you say you won't get a high score on TOEFL IBT exam unless you have a good preparation, or unless your English is very strong. So it means if your English is not very strong, it means if you don't have a good preparation. Understood? Unless means if not. It has a negative meaning. The word is positive, but the meaning is negative. Yep.
Only if we pass the exam successfully can we have our diploma.
Yeah, or can we get our diploma, or can we receive our diploma?
Can you say that you should quarantine yourself or stay at home in case of getting infected by corona?
In case of, getting infected with the COVID-19. Yes, that's right.
I'll go swimming tomorrow unless it is too cold.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll go swimming tomorrow unless it is too cold, which means if it is not too cold, right? Yep.
You must be present in class or else you will not improve.
You must be punctual or else you will not improve your English. That's right. I think it's enough. So we can keep practicing after we're done with the recording, right? But recording, this much recording is enough, right? We'll keep practicing. Yeah, have a great time, everybody. Bye-bye.